Welcome to our deep dive on vocabulary.
Yeah.
You guys sent in a really interesting set of words this time. 30 words from the Oxford 5000. Group 41 to be exact, but who's counting? We're going to be looking at words 1201 to 1230.
Okay.
And the idea here is to really help you power up your everyday English.
Yeah.
We don't want to just memorize definitions.
No.
The idea is to really make these words work for you.
Absolutely.
So you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. What I think is so interesting about this set of words is how often they pop up in conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though some of them might seem a bit advanced at first glance.
Yeah, they can be a little intimidating.
Yeah, but once you're comfortable using them,
Right.
your fluency is really going to take off.
It's true. You'll sound so much more natural and confident.
Okay. Should we jump in?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm already spotting words I use all the time.
Me too.
But I bet there are some hidden depths that we can uncover together.
Oh, I'm sure of it. Language is full of surprises.
Okay, kicking things off, we have the word naval.
Naval. Okay, so naval means relating to a country's navy or warships.
Okay.
So, for example, you could say, the nation invested heavily in its naval defenses.
Makes sense.
Or, the naval officer saluted smartly, boarding the destroyer.
Nice. Very visual.
And to switch it up a little bit, my grandfather's naval stories were always full of adventure.
Oh, I love that. See, I was just thinking about battleships and stuff, but
Right.
you've got history and strategy.
Exactly. It's a word with a lot under the surface.
It really is. And speaking of finding your way, next up is navigation.
Oh, navigation.
Surely there's more to it than just using GPS, right?
You're absolutely right. It's about more than just getting from point A to point B. Navigation can also involve planning a route
Okay.
or directing a ship or aircraft.
Ah, I see.
Think of it this way. The experienced pilot navigated through dense fog.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or learning celestial navigation was key for early explorers.
Right, using the stars. That's amazing.
Yeah, and we can even use it metaphorically. She skillfully navigated the complex world of corporate finance.
Nice. So it's not just about physical journeys.
Exactly.
It can be about navigating challenges and decisions too.
Absolutely.
Okay, this one, nearby, I use all the time.
Nearby. Yeah, me too.
Anything we should watch out for with this word?
You know, nearby is pretty straightforward.
Okay, good.
It just means close in distance or time.
Simple enough.
For example, we grab lunch at a nearby cafe.
Yep.
Or the conference is scheduled for a nearby Thursday.
Okay.
And to really emphasize proximity, luckily, a gas station was nearby when we ran out of fuel.
Oh, that's a lifesaver. All right, on to a word with a bit more weight. Necessity.
Necessity.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like this one gets used in some pretty serious situations.
Definitely. Necessity is all about something being essential or unavoidable.
Right.
So you see it in phrases like, food and water are basic necessities for survival.
Or, he felt selling the family heirloom was a necessity to pay his debts.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah. And more broadly, sometimes compromise is a necessity for peace.
True. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Exactly.
Now, for a word that's definitely not positive, but important nonetheless, neglect.
Neglect, yeah.
What comes to mind when you hear that word?
Neglect means to fail to care for something properly.
Right.
And that can be physical, like the abandoned house showed years of neglect.
Yeah, I can picture that.
Or emotional, the child's emotional needs were tragically neglected.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
And even in less serious cases, don't neglect your houseplants. They need water.
Haha, very true. Plants have feelings too, people.
They do.
Switching gears to a word I bet we're all familiar with. Negotiate.
Oh, negotiate. Love this one.
From salaries to screen time limits, it feels like life's full of negotiation.
Oh, you're not wrong. Negotiate means to discuss something formally in order to reach an agreement. And this could be on a global scale, like the two countries negotiated a peace treaty.
Right, high stakes.
Or in everyday life, we negotiated a fair price for the used car.
Nice.
And, humorously, My dog is a master at negotiating treats.
Aren't they all? All right, building on that, we have negotiation.
Negotiation.
Is this just the noun form of negotiate, or is there more to it?
You got it. Negotiation is the process itself.
Okay.
So we might say, the salary negotiations went on for weeks.
Oh, I've been there.
Or, successful negotiation requires clear communication.
Absolutely. You got to know what you want.
You do. And in a business context, the art of negotiation is a valuable skill.
No doubt about it. Okay, this one's got a friendly vibe to it.
Neighboring.
Neighboring. I like that one.
Makes me picture, like, folks borrowing sugar and chatting over the fence.
Oh, I love that image. Neighboring means located next to or near something else.
Yeah.
It's not always about houses, though. We explored neighboring villages during our vacation.
Oh, nice. Or the two neighboring countries share a rich history.
Right.
And to bring it back to people, our neighboring families often celebrate holidays together.
Oh, that's lovely. Up next, nest. Birds and babies come to mind, but I'm guessing this word flies beyond that, right?
Absolutely. So a nest can be that physical bird's home, but it also represents a place of comfort and security.
Ah, nice.
So we have the robin carefully lined its nest with soft moss.
Makes sense.
But also, the children created a cozy nest of blankets to read in.
Oh, that's cute.
And then, figuratively, the spy hid secret documents in a nest of hidden compartments.
Ooh, sneaky. Okay, net. I immediately picture fishing nets.
Aha. Yeah.
But something tells me this word casts a wider net than that.
You're spot on. So a net can be that physical mesh, but it can also refer to the final amount after deductions.
Oh, interesting.
So, for instance, the fisherman hauled in a net full of salmon.
Classic.
Then in business, after taxes, her net income was significantly less.
The less fun kind of net.
Yeah, exactly. And then even metaphorically, what's the net effect of all these changes?
I like that. Okay, we're definitely in the realm of balance with our next word. Neutral.
Oh, neutral. Yeah.
Not taking sides, staying calm. Any surprises with this one?
Well, while neutral often means not supporting either side in a conflict,
Right.
like Switzerland remained neutral during the war.
Classic example.
It can also describe things like color. The room was decorated in neutral tones.
Oh, yeah, I hear that a lot in interior design.
Right. Or even taste. This dish needs a bit more salt. It's too neutral.
Flavorless.
Yeah.
Newly. This feels like one of those words you can just slot in anywhere to spice things up.
It's certainly versatile. Newly simply means recently or just.
Okay, straightforward.
For example, they were a newly engaged couple glowing with happiness. Or the newly released movie received rave reviews.
Ooh, I gotta check that one out.
And to describe change, she felt empowered in her newly independent life.
Love it. Now, I'm a big fan of this next one. Newsletter.
Newsletter. Nice.
A great way to stay informed, whether it's about hobbies, local events, or even world news.
Newsletters are definitely having a moment.
They are.
They're printed or electronic reports with news about a specific topic.
Okay.
So we have the community garden sends out a monthly newsletter with gardening tips.
Very helpful.
Or I subscribe to a newsletter about sustainable living.
Good choice.
And more formally, the company's internal newsletter keeps employees updated on policy changes.
Right. Keeping everyone in the loop. Niche has become such a buzzword lately, especially in business.
It has. It's everywhere.
What's the real meaning beyond the trendiness?
So a niche is a specialized segment of the market for a specific product or service.
Right.
So it's not just about being unique. It's about serving a specific group of people.
Right. Finding your people.
Exactly. So you hear it in phrases like, they found a profitable niche selling handcrafted pet accessories. Or, that bookstore specializes in rare first editions, catering to a very particular niche.
Yeah, for the serious bookworms.
Absolutely. And even her academic work focused on a niche area of ancient Roman law.
Wow, that's niche. Noble. This one conjures up images of knights and castles and doing the right thing.
It does have that grand, virtuous feeling. Noble describes someone of high rank or moral character.
Okay.
So we might say he descended from a long line of noble ancestors.
Oops.
Or, despite facing adversity, she remained noble in her pursuit of justice.
Hopeful.
And even for everyday actions, it was a noble gesture to donate his winnings to charity.
Definitely. Now, this next one might make some listeners nod off. Or is that just me?
What about nod?
Hopefully everyone's still with us.
I hope so.
So to nod is to lower and raise your head briefly, often to show agreement or as a greeting.
Right.
So it can be simple, like she nodded in understanding.
Yeah.
Or a bit more subtle, he gave a barely perceptible nod of acknowledgement.
And of course, there's the accidental, I must have nodded off during the lecture, I missed the key points.
Oh, no. Happens to the best of us.
It does. It does.
Nominate. This one has me thinking of award shows and elections.
Yes.
It's about putting someone forward, right?
Exactly. To nominate is to propose or formally enter someone as a candidate for an award or position.
Okay.
So, for example, I'd like to nominate my colleague for Employee of the Month.
Good for them.
Or the critically acclaimed film was nominated for multiple Oscars.
Fingers crossed.
And even in casual settings, we nominated Sarah to organize the potluck. She's a fantastic cook.
Good choice. And naturally, that leads us to nomination. Is there anything tricky about this one, or is it pretty straightforward?
Nomination is pretty straightforward. It's the act of formally suggesting someone.
Okay.
So it's the process, not the person.
Right, got it.
We might say, receiving a nomination for the Nobel Prize is a tremendous honor.
Definitely.
Or, the nomination process for the Supreme Court is lengthy and complex.
Oh, yeah. Very serious business.
Yeah. And even his surprise nomination for class president sparked a lively debate.
Haha, high school drama. Okay, time for a confession. I used to mix up nominee and nominator.
Oh, yeah. Those can be tricky.
You cleared up the confusion.
Happens to the best of us. So the nominee is the person being suggested.
Okay.
And the nominator is the one doing the suggesting.
Right, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So the nominees for Best Picture waited anxiously for the announcement.
Nerve-wracking.
Then each nominator had to provide a compelling reason for their choice.
Interesting.
And to illustrate, the nominee thanked her nominator for the incredible support.
Very nice. Nonprofit seems pretty self-explanatory. An organization that's not about making money. What else should we know?
You're right. A nonprofit organization is focused on charitable or public service goals.
Right, making a difference.
Exactly. So instead of profit, their success is measured in impact.
I like that.
We might say she dedicated her life to working for nonprofit organizations fighting poverty.
Very admirable.
Or many nonprofits rely on volunteers and donations to function effectively.
For sure.
And just to highlight their diversity, there are nonprofits focused on everything from environmental protection to animal rescue.
So many important causes.
Yeah.
This next word, nonetheless, is one of those transition words that can make your writing sound so polished.
Oh, it's a great one. It adds that contrast and sophistication.
Right.
It means despite that or nevertheless.
Okay.
So, for example, the hike was challenging, but the view from the summit was breathtaking nonetheless.
Worth it.
Or he knew the surgery was risky. Nonetheless, he decided to proceed.
A brave decision.
And then, to emphasize a point, her arguments were flawed, but her conclusion was sound nonetheless.
Interesting. Okay, this one always makes me smile. Nonsense.
Nonsense.
It's a word that can be playful or serious, depending on how you use it.
It's incredibly versatile. Nonsense can be something absurd or meaningless, like, a child's silly story.
Exactly.
So you might say, that's absolute nonsense. You can't fly by flapping your arms.
Kids say the darndest thing.
They do. But then, more seriously, the conspiracy theory was based on pure nonsense. And even in a literary context, the poem was filled with beautiful imagery, but the plot was utter nonsense.
Beautifully written nonsense. Back to the basics with noon. Just in the middle of the day, right? Any hidden meanings lurking here?
No hidden meanings with noon. It's straightforward. It's simply 12:00 in the daytime.
All right, good to know.
We see it in everyday phrases like, we'll break for lunch at noon sharp, or the sun reaches its zenith at noon.
Makes sense.
And to add a touch of drama, at the stroke of noon, the clock tower chimed, signaling a momentous occasion.
Ooh, I like that. Norm, this feels like it's all about what's considered typical or expected in a given situation.
Norm. Yeah.
Am I on the right track?
You are. A norm is a standard pattern or behavior.
Okay.
Think of it like the unwritten rules of society.
I see.
We might say, tipping your server is the norm in many restaurants.
Right.
Or cultural norms can vary greatly from country to country.
True. Very important to be mindful of that.
Absolutely. And to highlight change, the pandemic challenged many societal norms, forcing us to adapt.
That's for sure. A lot of things change. Notable. Now, this is a word I try to slip in whenever I want to sound extra smart.
It definitely adds a touch of sophistication.
Right.
Notable means worthy of attention or notice. Remarkable.
Okay.
For example, the scientist made notable advancements in cancer research.
Amazing.
Or the city boasts several notable landmarks attracting tourists from around the world.
Nice.
And to emphasize achievement, her contributions to the field of literature are particularly notable.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
And sticking with this theme, we have notably. Is this just the adverb form of notable?
Exactly. Notably means particularly or especially. It draws attention to something specific.
Got it.
So we might say, the company's profits have increased notably in the last quarter.
Hopefully.
Or, the artist's work is known for its vibrant colors, notably shades of blue and green.
Beautiful.
And to highlight a specific example, the report identified several areas for improvement, notably the customer service department.
Oh, there's always room for improvement. I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of notebooks. Always good to have one handy for jotting down ideas, to-do lists, you name it.
Oh, they're essential for capturing those fleeting thoughts. A notebook is simply a book with blank pages for writing notes.
Simple but effective.
Exactly. For example, she always kept a notebook by her bedside to record her dreams.
I should try that.
Or, the students diligently took notes in their notebooks during the professor's lecture.
The classic image of a student.
Right. And then, to emphasize their versatility, notebooks can be used for everything from creative writing to scientific observations.
True. Endless possibilities. Notify feels like one of those formal words you see in official letters and emails.
It does, right? Yeah, to notify means to inform someone officially, often in writing. So we might see phrases like, you will be notified by email when your order has been shipped.
I get those all the time.
Right. Or, please notify the authorities immediately if you witness any suspicious activity.
Important.
And then in a more casual setting, just notify me when you're ready to leave.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
This next word, notorious, definitely has a bit of a dark side, doesn't it?
It does, you're right. Notorious means famous or well-known, typically for something bad.
Right.
For example, the pirate, Blackbeard, was notorious for his cruelty.
Oh yeah, a classic villain.
Or the city was notorious for its corrupt politicians.
Not a good reputation to have.
No. And to describe a place, the Bermuda Triangle is notorious for its mysterious disappearances.
Spooky. Last but not least, we have novel, a word that sparks joy for any bookworm.
Absolutely. A novel is, of course, a long fictional narrative, but it can also mean new and original, describing an idea or invention.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you can say, her debut novel became an instant bestseller. Or, the engineer developed a novel approach to bridge construction.
Clever.
And to highlight its innovative aspect, the company patented its novel technology, revolutionizing the industry.
Now that's impressive. Wow, that was quite a journey through the nuances of English vocabulary. Who knew seemingly simple words could hold so much depth?
It's amazing how much richness there is to explore in the English language, right?
It really is. And the best way to truly master these words is to start using them.
Yes.
In your everyday life.
Exactly.
Challenge yourself to sprinkle these words into your conversations and writing this week.
Have fun with it.
Those of you listening, what words stood out to you? Which ones are you excited to try out? We would love to hear from you. Until next time, happy wordsmithing.